Well, can your heart stand the shocking truth? I'm going to preface this by saying these are just things that I think from the whole Epstein thing so far, which a lot of this I've thought for a long time anyway. Excuse the hair. Anyway, you got Bill Gates heavily involved, and if you listen to some of the stuff he's talked about for years, and I risk, I don't want to say I told you so to all these people blessing his name. There's some people I respect that, they just thought he was a great person, philanthropist and all that. No, never. And there's a lot of people get hung up too about evil people kind of somewhat doing some good things, like Musk just donated something, I think heaters or something, to Nashville. It's just currying favor. And they owe at least that much because of how much they've starved the nation that's made them what they are. And how much people are deprived anyway. You're throwing scraps to starving animals, and then people look at you like you're an animal lover. That's not accurate. But he's involved also. And people are ignoring that fact. I just saw a guy recently, really funny guy, that's local here, kind of has a following. I'm not going to name his name. But I've had a lot of good, just jokes back and forth. And he's just a funny guy, seems to be a nice guy. And he thinks Musk is a great person. Might even think the same thing about Donald Trump. But if you look at some of the things that Gates has talked about over the years, about decreasing the population, and then you look at some of the things that's happened in the past few years, you can't even say the words about. You can't say suggestions of certain health restrictions and advice and shots and things like that. You can't even say anything about it without getting in some serious trouble. And it looks like that may have been somehow connected to Epstein as well. You look at all the presidents, all the politicians connected. They just discovered Jeffries being connected somehow. Kind of obvious. I mean, if you see, there's a character that's very pro-Israel. I call him the Goat Man. Calls himself a rabbi, and he isn't. But he's been in so many pictures with people. He was RFK's campaign manager, I believe. And there's videos of him riding around on Cory Booker's back. When you see people they're jumping both parties, and I just got through trying to, probably ranting a little bit too much. I'm not very concise, to somebody who's trying to play the Democrat and Republican game here in Cobb County. It's not really here. I'm not in Cobb County, but it's nearby. They're doing it on a small scale. Like the Democrats are going to hurt us and the Republicans are going to make us strong. You've been Republican. It's been nothing but Republican. And he just tried to make some kind of argument, well, the Democrats have been controlling education and this and that. And then he started talking about rhinos, of course. So that's the Republican version of how the Democrats would draft in dissenters. Like Sinema and Manchin they'd use. And you could tell even that little squad group would divide themselves up and coordinate so that a vote wouldn't pass. Democrats' whole game is not winning. That's what they're doing, because they have all these promises. They're going to do this and that for their voters. Very ambitious voters. So in order to not do those things, they need to not win. At least not on a large scale. And it's been working out for them pretty well. But when it isn't, they'll draft in dissent. People have got to stop supporting this. Here's what you do. Anyone connected to Epstein, anyone supporting anyone closely connected to Epstein. Anybody pro-Israel, they take money from or they give money to Israel or its lobbyists. All of them need voted out. Don't vote for any of them. How is this not occurring to you at this point? Are you just denying reality? I never thought it would get to this point. I really didn't. I didn't think people would be this out of touch with reality. It's ridiculous. How are you just... They must not be reading anything. The only thing I can figure is you got people who only watch Fox News, maybe Newsmax and ONN, and if they don't say it, it doesn't exist. And then you got the other people, it's MSNBC and CNN and whatever else, and if they don't say it, it doesn't exist. So if you're talking about anything else, you might as well be talking about a flat earth or lizard people or aliens or Bigfoot or whatever else. They just don't believe it. They don't know about it. It hasn't been laundered through their little sources that they're used to hearing from, so they don't know about it. It's just nonsense. It's like talking about fairies. The manner of speaking, education is the problem, but how do you teach old dogs new tricks? I mean, part of the indoctrination from those stations is to basically tell them that everything else is fake news. Everything. Even if it's on video, and that's hell, I'm not anti-AI. I think there's a lot of good things that can come from it, at least in the animation perspective. You got a poor person, they can make a whole movie if they get the technology on hand. We can eliminate this nonsense Hollywood crap. People with good ideas will be able to make them now. That's great. Be affordable. Not trying to cheat other people, but if you ain't got the money to make it, but you got the talent, what do? Just not make it? And how's it any different than any other kind of animation? So I'm not against that, but the only issue is the way it can reproduce real people. At some point, and that point may be now, you can't even believe what you see. And at some point, not only are they going to, if they can use it to as a cop-out for a real criminal, a person really guilty of something, they can use that to get them out of it. Oh, well, that's fake. It's AI. Well, they can put you in it. You know, it might not be a bad idea to... I've even floated this idea before. This sounds really paranoid. People like tattoos anyway. Don't expose all of them. You know, just in case somebody wants to frame you, they put a fake version of you in a video doing something you shouldn't do. If that tattoo or mark or something isn't there, well, then they know it's not you. I don't know. It's just an idea. Too much time to think. But we're getting to the point where, you know, what is the truth? I see why people hate AI. I really do. Now, even before then, just the ability to alter photos. And it seems like it's gotten worse. The computerized version of that is pretty screwy. AI is definitely not very intelligent at this point. They used to fake photos and do pretty good with them, but I don't know these days. Maybe it's the person using it. But that's the goal right now. If they had any ties to Epstein, any, or if somebody is right now still a strong supporter of anybody involved in Epstein, so even a secondary thing, and enthusiastic about Israel. In other words, they take money from them or they want to send money to them. Those are two major things. You don't even have to worry that much about other policies. You really don't, because it really comes from that. You get rid of all of them. You know, all the perverts that's in office right now, all the pro-mass murder people, you get rid of them. You get rid of the ties to Israel, the ties to Epstein, or the secondary. So, you know, the squad was really bad about this sort of thing. People like them, and I'm sure there's a Republican variation of it. They would try this little trick. They would be against this or that, or for this or that. And that's how they would get these people's votes. And then they'd turn around and build up people who were against those things or for those things, the opposite. So it was kind of like, in supporting them, you're also supporting the people who are against everything they're supposed to stand for. It's just more sheepdogging. If you typically vote Republican, you need to stop. You have got to stop. Support the Libertarian Party. That's what you're supposed to stand for. You're being a hypocrite by supporting Republicans. You are. You are a hypocrite. It's not Christian. It's not pro-American. You can drop that. If you're voting Republican at this point, as in voting for Trump, you are not a Christian. You are not pro-American. And I will fight you on that. Now, as far as the Democrats go, if you're voting Democrat, same goes for you. You are a hypocrite. You are a complete hypocrite. Both of you are hypocrites. My God, look back at the turn of the century. Look back at 2000 or just before. You had these people throwing a fit about how immoral Bill Clinton was. These same people support Trump now. You had people throwing a fit about George W. Bush, all the war, the foreign policy, and this and that. And then they support Obama, who did the same thing. You people that are voting for these, ritualistically voting for these Democrats and Republicans, you have let them make fools out of you. They have made fools out of you. You are against everything that you stood for 25, 30 years ago, if you're old enough for that. Everything your parents, if your parents voted the same way you did, in the case of needing a little bit more age on that example, you're against everything they stood for. You thought you were turning left, and then the road went back right, and then you still pretend like you turned left, or vice versa. It's like I criticize some people in relationships. At some point, you're fooling yourself. They're not fooling you anymore. You are fooling yourself. You are being a willful dupe. And they're trying to sort of alter the whole Epstein thing to make it look like you're an alien person. You're some sort of tin-foil hat person. No, it's the real thing, and it's been going on. And some of us have been saying this for years. I haven't exactly had a microphone or an iPhone shoved in my face, but I've been saying this for years. And there's people that's been saying it much longer than me. I'm later to the game than I wanted to be, that I'm proud of. Better late than never, I guess, as Bobby Rush would say. Pay attention to these Epstein files. Pay attention to who's covering up, who's telling you to move on. And honest to God, if you watch that Bondi testimony and you support her, you need to be put in a home somewhere. You cannot take care of yourself. There is something lost in your brain. There's something missing. There's something not right about you. How you can watch that and be like, yeah, that's the way to go. I've also said for years, you look at these White House press secretaries, and I don't care both parties, some of the most hateable human beings who haven't actually directly done violent things. It's amazing they can find the people that are so instantly detestable. Awful, awful people. This woman, the woman before, I slipped her name, but her name slipped my mind at the moment, but who did it for Biden. How despicable, awful people, just pointedly rude to people. I mean, they're already not allowing this or that question, dictating what you can even say to them. People just want answers. How are you still supporting this? Seriously. How are you not seeing this as like a damn cartoon? Matter of fact, if you wrote it as a story years ago, people wouldn't believe it. They'd think it's too far-fetched. Idiocracy wasn't inventive enough. It's worse than that. And I've made videos about people like, Tim Pool and the like. Does anybody else find this strange? Look at the following he has. Who was he? What did he do before this? You find it a little strange that all of a sudden he appears to be a millionaire. How'd that happen? And there's a lot like him. Can't just concentrate on that Goomba. There's many more like him. Out of nowhere. Yeah, I might be slow going with my videos. I'm proud of what I've done so far, believe it or not, as little as it is. But I've seen people that's done better than me, who are more deserving than me, and they're doing better than me, but not as good as they should be doing. I need to make a video where I show the people I actually watch. But it's not like they're going to be, they're more well-known than I am, so what am I really doing? But it's hard. It's slow going if you're a real person. If you're not, there's something else going on there. So even independent media has been invaded. Independent. So again, basically the main idea of this is don't be ignoring the Epstein files. Don't be ignoring how that's connected to Israel. It is. It is. Listen to the politicians, Democrats and Republicans. Listen to how they talk about Israel. Have they done that for any other country? Any. There's a lot of countries. Have you heard them say it about Ireland, England, Germany, France, Spain? Certainly any of the African countries. They don't do it. It's only Israel. Out of the whole world, they just bless its name. And it's getting all this funding. Why? Why? Ask yourself that. Don't push that question aside. You ask yourself that. And why do people have like a knee-jerk reaction? Somebody says, Israel, oh, it's the greatest country ever. God bless Israel. We need to support them. We need to give them everything. You don't think that's a little strange? Maybe it's because they're being blackmailed. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because they're being bought. Find me somebody not involved with Epstein who has not had gigantic donations or got some other weird connection to Israel who still says great things about it. You're not going to find it. So, again, connections to Israel, connections to Epstein, or even indirect connections to those two things. Vote them out. Vote. Some of you want to talk about America first? Good. Good. Stick to that. Now, for me, when I say America first, I mean the whole continent. I don't mean the country. I mean the whole continent. And I'm not anti-immigrant. And a lot of people who say they aren't actually are. Because an illegal immigrant, if that's the only law they've broken, is not any more threat to your life than a legal one. That's the truth. That's the truth. You're mad at them because they don't have the legal documentation to be getting the thing they would be getting legally. It wouldn't hurt you if it was legal, but it would hurt you if it was illegal. That doesn't make any sense. It's just it's laundered anti-immigration. That's all it is. The replacement nonsense. So again, anybody supporting Israel in any capacity. Anybody connected to Epstein in any capacity. Any. They do not have to, they shouldn't have any power. And you could go farther than the politicians. Go to people making movies. Quentin Tarantino, for example, who is an overrated piece of garbage. He has made so much slop that has gotten awards and acclaim. I could make a whole video on that, and I need to. You want to talk about, God, people are easy to fool these days. Nonsense. You need to boycott and vote out anybody connected to those two factors. It's actually one factor, but it's two. Vote out anybody connected to it. And some of the people, if you're Republican, some of the people you voted for, you supported, now you're being told by your orange president to go against them. Now they're traitors. Now they're awful people. Well, how easy to fool must he be? It's because he's bought and he's in those damn files. That's what's going on. You know how many times he's in it? I bet you your right-wing media didn't tell you. Last I heard, tens of thousands of times. Oh, but I'm sure he's just there because he was bringing muffins. I actually shouldn't have said muffins. That was code for something. That's in the files. They use food references. And they eat people. Isn't that crazy? That sounds crazy, doesn't it? I should have 10 full on my head. No, it's in the files. There's even pictures in the files. There's one picture in particular, they tried to cover it up. But it looks like, what you can tell, there's something redacted in between two rotisserie chickens. But that in the middle is not a chicken. It's a person, about chicken-sized. Yeah. The people you are voting for and yelling and screaming at your neighbors for are in those files. Those you think are your allies. And your neighbor is your enemy. Your coworker is your enemy. Your cousin. People you've known your whole life, who have lived the same life as you have. They're not in those files. But the people in the files, they care about you. They love America. They're your ally. I said it before and I'll say it again. Love your neighbor, not your government. Vote these scum out and bankrupt them. Take them from all power. If they've got riches, let's make sure that's all they ever get. Let's make sure they're never able to get any power again in their lives. Let's have them living under bridges if we can. They don't get one penny. They don't get one vote. They get no support from you. If you care about America, if you have any morals, you do not support these people. Seriously, it is time to wake